And when you bring a man a gun when he's still in the latrine, like, it's there right behind you. I'm like, Tim, I feel like I shouldn't be over here.
He was running with it. Brian's standing there with this big grin. He goes, hey, we got to go. There's a tsunami.
Yeah, so we start going, and they're like, Michael's gone. I'm like, he's gone. Leave him.
I guess I didn't convey the seriousness of the situation.
Huh. I mean, like a real tsunami.
He's too far gone. He's like, I'm right here. I'm coming. I'm like, no, leave him.
Here we go. All right, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. We are back in Cole Kramer's
Shop.
Manly shop.
Hard to put it in words.
Just jumped right out of the gate with
His
that.
junk room.
It's hard to put it into words. It's you got boxes of animals up there.
Hides from many a year back.
Someday you're gonna make this into a glorious man cave.
Yep, that's right.
It kind of made it sound a little weird. They've got boxes of animals up there. It's like,
right.
Well, pets.
I can't afford these taxidermies. This is taxidermy days,
getting ready to be mounted. So hides and things.
All right. So I want to talk about this tsunami. We didn't sign up for that, Cole. So
Usually charges extra.
What's the deal?
Well, apparently, what day was that? Was that Friday?
The newspaper article's right over there.
It is. It's right there in my bag. Check
there
this
by
out.
Ben,
whatever day that
freezer.
was.
Up on the freezer there.
No, it's in my gray bag. Oh, right there. Yeah.
Hey.
Right here, Cole.
Okay.
You see this right here?
You know me. I'm not much on these facts, they call things.
Kodiak Daily Mirror.
Yep.
Warning response. Kodiak reacts to tsunami threat after 7. They said a 7.0. I thought it was 7.2.
Yeah, I heard 7.2 a couple times.
Earthquake.
We'll go with 7.6.
I think that's like 1,000 times worse.
It was like a 9.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, what day was that? What day does that say? Was that, what day did we get in? So it must have been Friday. It was Friday morning. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was.
it was kind of a slow morning, raining and blowing, and we were all taking our time there in the tent. And
oh, dude, the night of,
he just kind of,
I thought our tent was going to leave the planet.
Glossed over. He said, kind of raining and windy.
Yeah,
it was
seriously.
like 80 miles an hour.
That was that night. Friday night was the windy night. Guys, come on. Okay,
No,
fine. They were all windy.
Yeah, true. Both nights were pretty epic.
Moving on.
Yeah, I filmed it, by the way.
Windy,
You did too.
Little rainy.
I did, yes.
Yeah,
I
because
recorded it in the dark and when it got a little lighter.
These guys thought we kind of put the cook tent off to the side where it doesn't get much wind, and they're out there just like full frontal. Anyways, so we were sitting around in the tent that next morning, having a slow morning, and I remember getting an inReach message from someone saying, hey, big earthquake in Anchorage, 7.2 up by Palmer. Tsunami warnings are in effect for up there. Not sure about Kodiak yet, but be in the know. And so then I made a call to someone else. And they said, yeah, it happened up there, but they sounded the sirens a little bit in Kodiak, but we're not sure what'll happen. But they're not on. But we'll let you know if anything happens. And it was like 2 minutes later, I'm getting messages: go to high ground now. Go to high ground now. Wave is coming. So I'm sitting there and everyone's in the tent like doing their thing, and I'm like, all right, well, guys, here's the deal. There has been an earthquake. I think I told you guys first. There was an earthquake, so we need to be kind of on our toes. I think Ben had on Crocs or something. Like, you should go change into hiking boots and put your rain gear on. And so I said, just be in the know, guys. And then all of a sudden it came back on, like, you need to go to high ground right now, because everyone thought the wave was coming in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, it says in here, Kodiak residents head toward Kodiak High School after it opened its gym as an evacuation shelter following a tsunami alert Friday morning.
Yeah. And so you could imagine, as here we are out there at a tent camp and up a valley and, not far from the ocean and kind of thinking, huh. And so you're kind of going through your mind, like, what do we really need to take with this? And basically just told you guys, put your rain gear on, your hiking boots, let's go up with your packs, and we got to get up high because you just don't know if a big wall of waves coming. But, they say to get up above 100 feet. I think we got a couple 100 feet.
Above sea level.
Yeah, above sea level.
And that was a rodeo, throwing all our stuff, and Cole's like, we need to leave. I'm not messing around. This is serious. We need to leave. And so go grab your stuff. So we run over to our tents.
You guys walk over. No,
No,
taking their sweet time like
Wait a
it's a
minute.
joke.
I had missed all
Michael
of this.
decides, I'm going to go use the bathroom.
Michael and Tim were not there. It was just me. And so I go over there and I go, hey, we got to load up and leave now. That warning is in place. Where's Michael? Nobody knows where Michael is. And I'm like, all right, okay, let's go. And then you hear Cole go, hey, I'm not effing around. Let's go.
Yeah, so we start going, and they're like, Michael's gone. I'm like, he's gone. Leave him. He's too far gone. And he's like, I'm right here. I'm coming. I'm like, no, leave him. He's taking up too much room now. Push him to the side.
Yeah.
But you made it.
Yeah,
I
Michael
grabbed
made it.
you, Brian, stayed behind, and that was nice of you because Cole was already up and over the hill.
We voted him back in the group. It was fine.
No, I caught up very quickly. That's for sure. But it was the scramble. That's for sure. You're grabbing, what do I need? What do I need? And thankfully all of us had our packs pretty much set before we rolled into breakfast and stuff. So It wasn't so bad to grab everything and go.
Yeah, except it gets, as you know, sometimes the stories in camp get a little bit deep after you've been in tents. And so I wasn't in there for the, hey, there's been an earthquake, any of this stuff. And
Oh, where were you, Tim?
I was in the fox blind.
Which also known as the
Hey,
Outhouse.
hygiene's
the
important.
outhouse, latrine,
Hygiene's important.
the bathroom.
Yeah, so I was using the restroom and coming back to open the rain fly, and I'm halfway up with the zipper, and Brian's standing there with this big grin. He goes, hey, we got to go. There's a tsunami. It's like, sweet. Where's the oatmeal? And he's like, no, I'm serious. I was like, okay, whatever. And I'm walking back, and then Cole, I think, took issue with my sense of urgency, and let me know that it was a real thing. It's like,
I guess I didn't convey the seriousness of the situation.
huh, I mean, like a real tsunami. Maybe
Like the
we should
wave
do
thing?
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were pretty close to that being dangerous.
Well,
So, yeah.
the problem is, I kept asking people, I said, well, what, and I'm not a earthquake, tsunami expert. Obviously, I live in an area, but I don't know how it all
really-
works, right? But
you
the
play
point
one
is,
on TV.
you have a earthquake and it sends a shock wave out, right? And there's going to be a wave coming from somewhere. But we were obviously very fortunate that it didn't happen, but you don't know how big it's going to happen. Like when we looked in the book at the hotel from the 64 earthquake, I believe it was the 64 earthquake, we were reading on a page that had, that sent 30-foot waves, I think, into Kodiak. I mean, it washed boats way up into town, 56-foot, 100-foot boats, whatever, all the way up into the buildings and, and that was a 30-footer, I guess, or something is what they said. But then there was other areas that had 230 or something foot waves.
Yeah.
That just, so I mean, and they just form once they get to, it's not just like, a big wave coming out all the way across the ocean. It just, apparently I think it forms once you hit the shallower
like a
water.
snowball.
Right. Once it starts hitting the floor of the ocean, and then coming up into shallower water, it's rolling from there. But, so you don't really know what's going to happen. And, we've been pretty fortunate. We've had 2 earthquakes this year. I mean, there's multiple earthquakes happen all the time, but ones that actually are felt and really, pretty substantial,
You're right.
not have tsunamis.
And Anchorage got wrecked.
They, it looks like there were some of the roads and buildings and like people say, it looks fine to the eye. And there's some roads that caved in, cracked, things and that. But once you go into buildings and structurally, there's some major issues in some places.
Turned out we did not experience the tsunami in our spot. The little article says we got a little bit of a mixed message, but we sounded the evacuation and it went very smoothly.
Well, you'd rather, my train of thought was, I'd rather be evacuated 100 times and nothing happen than people get, too complacent and something happen. And cause that was my train of thought is when we're in camp, I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm like, well, probably won't come down here from the angle of it and everything. I'm like, well,
That's
boy,
how
I'd feel pretty stupid if something did happen. Like,
Right.
I had my running shoes on. Like, I was ready to roll. But I thought, well, I would have more supplies if they all got swept away. Then I could survive longer out here. But then I decided against that. I'm like, I'll let them know. regardless. No, it's like you have to play it on the cautious side, right? And that's just like, hey, sound the siren, dude. Like, what's it going to hurt?
Yeah.
Yep. So we went up the mountain, got to high elevation, and then waited it out. And then when we got the all clear, we came on down off the mountain, and it was an eventful morning.
Yeah.
You whipped out a tarp I've never seen before.
Yes, it was a special tarp.
I liked it. Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot. When does that maybe come out and hit the market?
I don't know. That's a question for John Barcalow. Yeah, they're at Sitka. So, anyways, it's a nice.
You got all the fancy things, Cole.
Well,
you get all the cool stuff.
Sometimes it looks fancy, but you don't know until you really try it out. And, and then they got to work on it a little more. But that one seemed to be a pretty cool little shelter.
The Kodiak jacket that we used on this trip.
Yeah,
that was pretty legit.
Yeah, no, it's got its
kind of a brainchild behind that.
Well, that type of jacket has been used forever up here, but mainly in a rubber raincoat. Helly Hansen or Grundon's 3/4 length, knee length coat that guys wear with hip boots. Okay, and they're all heavy jacket, not very compactable. And so dealing with Sitka, it's like, man, if we could just make one of these. I knew it wasn't going to be like, I didn't see it being a big seller for them, but it's a specialty item, just like a lot of their products. And what I was hoping was to be able to attract maybe some people that aren't buying their product right now. Because, if you're already buying the rain gear and you look and say, well, that's just a long jacket. I've already got the top and bottom. Why would I buy that? But it is a certain purpose because some of the guys, your guides will tell you you're going to be in hip boots the whole time, or chest waders. But if you're going to be in hip boots, this is the type of jacket that we like. Then you don't have to wear rain pants with it if you don't want to. But some guys just like a longer raincoat in general, so you got double layer to sit on and whatnot, or ride your horse, and it kind of covers the, your saddle and whatnot. But, it's still evolving. It's not exactly 100% how I'd like it, but, they're doing a good job. They're getting a lot of input now from other guys that are using it. And so, sure, it's going to evolve and change some over the years, but I think it's picked up enough traction. Yeah,
I got to test it this week. A couple weeks. It was pretty cool. It was nice to have that extra length. Especially we were in a lot of wind this week. Some pretty icy, like finger burning wind,
Right.
So having that little extra length was a little warmer.
Right.
The extra just keeping you drier.
Well, and what you find also is like you're not wearing a normal length raincoat that when you're laying on your belly while you're stalking or looking over a ridge, it's not blowing up the back of your raincoat.
Sitting down.
Right. And with that coat, you can roll up the back. We had them put snaps on the back to where you can make it a normal length raincoat if you want.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Man, because the only trouble I had when I needed to go number 2.
Right. No, and that's kind of the other thing.
I was in the latrine.
It's the flap.
And I'm like, how do you,
You're like the guy who craps in his waders.
Yeah, I did not want to crap on my jacket.
Right, you just roll that up and snap it. It's kind of what that's
nice.
Yeah, that's really the
I just kind of rolled it up and then held it, but
right.
It's a special blend of squatting and relaxing, and it's hard when you're holding the jacket too. And,
and truth be told, like there's a couple other guys who got involved with the project here, some of the old bear outfitters here, old school dudes that trying to get them their thought input on it as well. And so I think all in all, it's actually, I think John told me weight-wise, it came in even lighter than like the normal Stormfront rain jacket, which is pretty interesting. Wow. So that's pretty cool.
We also used Leupold's new spotter.
Yeah.
Which was
great. Sandy M.
And Tim, what's the story on that? It just came out.
Yep. Yeah, so it's new and without geeking out too far, with optics, as you stretch the zoom ratio, so if you have a rifle scope, a lot of people are familiar with those. If it goes from 3 to 9, you can accomplish that cleaner and more effectively than you can 3 to 18.
Yep.
If you're going to go 3 to 18, you can do that and you can have amazing optics. But your costs start going up. Everything has to really match perfectly. And so with spotting scopes, it's the same thing. And so, everybody would love to have something that goes from 10 to 200 and perfectly clear on all powers and all
Amen.
that. But
It would be like
yeah,
12 feet
I'm with
long.
you. Yeah, I'm with you. But just some of the the laws of physics and other things that are going on.
I remember Aaron Snyder once said, "My wife wants a gun that doesn't make noise, doesn't kick, and can mow down trees." But guess what? That doesn't exist.
It's not out there. Yeah, so we're working on that, but haven't gotten there. So what we've tried to do with that spotting scope is really hone in on what magnification levels do most people need most of the time, and make those optics as clean and crisp as possible. And so, this one's a 27 to 55, and those two numbers allow you to really clean it up optically, but keep the price down.
It also keeps the optics smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not packing a giant, heavy, plus, with optical ranges that aren't that clear on the top end or low anyway.
Right. Yeah, and so that was the main goal with this Sandy M, and it's part of the whole lineup. There's binoculars in the Sandy M line as well. But this was the first time that kind of publicly that other people have been using them. We test the heck out of things ahead of time, make sure that they're going to work and perform, because we need to be the ones that find those weak spots, not the consumer, right? Mm-hmm. And so this was the first time that I could really have it out and talking about it instead of hiding it in a pack. And we've got a whole team that tests it way better and more scientifically than I do, but I always like to be involved with that as well. And seeing what's going on. So
we put it to heavy use this week.
Yeah, they got used a lot. So it was good. The best part was, with it being brand new, there was only one of them, and Cole needs to look through it because he knows what he's looking at with these deer. So he carried it around. He carried my spotter around for me.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
And Will carried the other one.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice.
That's just part of the tools in the tool belt,
Yeah.
Because when you're seeing, especially as many deers we were seeing, you got to look them over real quick, and you got to pop it off the outside of your pack real fast. Take a look, put it back in, and off you go.
And I noticed, Cole, a lot of times you guys just leave it mounted to the tripod, strapped on the back.
Right.
And you just pop it off. There's no lens caps on anything. Do you ever run lens caps?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I would, but I think Tim lost his.
It was actually the very first comment. Okay. He looked at me and says, "Hey, product guy, nice lens covers."
Yeah, real nice. It's not raining here at all. So, anyways, I think they do have them. We just apparently forgot them or something.
Okay.
I didn't.
I thought that was a guide decision.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. No, it's how fast I work. I just make up things as I go. But no, when you're in a target-rich environment like that, you have to. You do have to run if you're just taking it apart every time, putting in your zip, you have to have it, set up, when you're constantly looking at a potential target or whatnot, you gotta keep it ready and quick. Something like that last night, Tim, I was just carrying it, cause it's like, just look it up or put it on the ground real quick. Nope. Keep moving,
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
and did you happen to notice that even without lens covers, you could still see through it and it worked?
Yeah.
We try to design them that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it worked really
so
good.
I have a quick question. There's
even in the rain.
All that rain.
When I was talking to Tim when we got here, Tim had this thing where he was, I think, almost as excited or more excited about what Kodiak has on the island in the form of the silver fox.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Tim and I share this same, we're both kind of getting up there in age. We both have a little gray. Been known to be called that a few times.
I'm not talking about you, gentlemen. I'm talking about a species of fox.
Yeah. We're off.
Real Canis, like something. Mm-hmm. It's a red fox, a true red fox. And I asked Cole this earlier on another podcast, and he knew it. He just forgot it. That's classic.
I know everything, except I forget it a lot.
That Kodiak has a native fox population, of a red fox population, and they come in 3 color variations. So you've got the classic red fox that we're all familiar with, and then you have the cross fox, which is kind of a silver or a blackish and red fox mixed, which Tim shot one of those, which is pretty cool. And then you have the silver fox, and it's kind of like a black fox with silver tips, and it's just, and yellow eyes. It's just so different, so unique. And I was curious, and it turns out that all of those are the same species of fox. They're all red fox. They just have those color mutations. And the further north you get, the more often those dark mutations occur. Like they're not really down in the mainland so much.
Yeah, I'd never
seen one or
seen
heard.
one.
Yeah.
Well, the fur trade was like really big back in the day. And
Yep.
so that, when they brought them over here and I mean, they had islands off the coast that they would have tons and tons of fox on, raising them on and harvesting them.
Yeah. I was reading about, they had these fox farms out here and then early, I think it was 1900s, 1920s, even through the 30s. They had huge fox farms where they got the foxes from the island and they just set up pens and they just raised them. And I was telling Michael, they were selling those silver fox coats for like, in today's dollars, for $1,100 a coat.
Oh, the coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. The hide was, the fur was $1,100 per pelt. So, I mean, and the red fox also sold for something similar, very close, but a little bit, I think it was a third less in value. But the silver and the cross were highly sought after.
It's like, the man comes home, brings his wife this beautiful coat.
Right.
And says, I made this comforter for you. And in that language, in that voice.
The thing is they're all over the island. And I never really knew that. I mean, I knew brown bear, mountain goat, Sitka blacktail. I didn't realize that the fox were there and that they were so present. Mm-hmm. And Tim, when did you figure that out?
On the interweb.
Before you came?
That's not what you're getting at though, is it, Brian? That they were prevalent, or when did the first time that I heard that these things existed?
The first time you heard they existed.
Talking to Cole. So getting ready to come up here, and he said something about silver foxes, and if you type that into Google, it takes you a while to get to the animal.
Right.
Your coworkers look at you.
Charlie
like
Rich comes up.
A little bit weird.
But,
I saw a picture of one, and I'm fascinated by stuff like that. Right?
Yeah.
And I saw one of those, and it was just they're beautiful. And I thought, if they look this good on the internet, I'd love to see one of these while we're up there. And Michael, much like hogging all the brown bears that we saw, was seeing silver foxes. We saw, a red fox. I saw a cross fox, but I didn't get to see a silver fox till probably 2 minutes after we should have already been leaving. But
great,
yeah, I learned about that, and I just want to see one.
Before we even got here, Tim's like heart set on this potential critter, like tagging one, and you can shoot two with your hunting license. And so Tim was the first one as well to take one. And Tim, you actually brought. How did the whole HMR 17?
Oh well, so when I was telling him early on, like because when we were setting the hunt up, it's like, okay, what is this hunt going to be? It's going to be okay, guys. Get 2 deer tags on your hunting license. You can shoot 2 fox, and one of our other hunters had shot a silver fox in this last hunt. But a lot of guys just have their deer rifle, and so when you shoot one with a 7 mag or a 300 Win Mag, you can imagine the fur does not stay intact as well as it would if you shot it with a much smaller caliber. And so I asked him I said, do one of you guys happen to have a smaller caliber predator rifle or whatnot for fox? And so because I didn't really have a good one, so that's when he brought up the 17, and the 17 does a much nicer, cleaner job.
What is it about the 17 that makes it work well for this situation?
It's one of those things where smaller bullet, higher velocity, and a little more frangible, a little lighter skinned bullet itself. So you get these smaller critters. It's a rimfire case for those that aren't familiar with it. So it's small and lightweight, but it's still, those bullets are only 17 grains, right? As opposed to a 180 grain bullet that we're using out of a 30 caliber type rifle. But it's coming out of there at nearly the same velocity as a hunting, as a deer rifle, 25, 50, somewhere in there. But when it hits, there's a lot of shock, inside the animal, but it leaves very small holes. And so you don't have damage to the hide or the
pelt,
the critter itself even. And so a more appropriate sized cartridge, you really do want to shoot the caliber or cartridge appropriate for the size of the animal. You can take Cole's 375 and shoot antelope. I've done this, and they don't go down as quickly or as humanely as if you shot them with a 243 or a 25-06. So it's just matching it, right?
Right.
And so that was the kind of the ideal choice. Bring up this 17 caliber. You're hitting them with 17 grains, and it's matched better for their body. That energy doesn't go into the dirt on the other side. It goes into the critter.
And you just threw one of your loophole scopes on the top.
Yeah, it's a VX. It's 2.5 to 8. It's small. It's a VX3i, and it's a small little compact rifle scope that matches that balance that little rifle.
It's pretty sweet to pull that thing up and then take aim and everything. It's a fun little rig for sure.
Yeah.
And we shot 3 wolves on the trip, or 3 foxes on the trip, a red, a cross, and a silver, one of each.
Yeah,
and you wanted the red, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you got. So,
Yep.
I kind of aim to please here. You know what I'm saying?
Tim wanted cross and a silver.
Well, truth be told, his wife, when
Riza?
I sent the photos, because she's the one who kind of set up the whole trip, maybe Michael too, I guess. But Riza was talking with me mainly and about it. And when I sent the picture of my last guy, she's like, "What's that?" And I said, "That's a silver fox." "Oh yeah, I want one." So I said, "Guys, these go back to Queen Riza." Okay.
got our marching orders.
You got to make the lady happy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, she got them.
Yep.
Mine was sort of, the fox I took was kind of on an epic outdoor adventure, and it was, we were hunting, and feeling the wild.
I
Tim
called called the fox. We
called
saw
the fox in. It just comes
a wonderful
charging
experience.
in, and it was a really neat experience. Tim just shot his from the latrine at the camp.
Whoa. All 3 of those same things were true. It was an epic outdoor adventure that was happening.
Yep, that's true.
All of those were
he was enjoying himself.
It was very true. All 3 of those. So you can't classify mine as any different than yours.
Yeah, what was that?
The pack out was a little shorter.
How'd that go? He goes,
I was
"Excuse
calling.
me, Brian. Excuse me, Brian. Are you there?
Yeah.
Can you hand me the gun?"
We should
now
talk
I'm
about
an
that.
82-year-old woman. What the hell just happened here?
I'm in my. Let's set this
Yep.
up. We're super excited to see a fox. We hope we'll get to see one on the trip. We brought the 17 and we practiced with it here in town in Kodiak before we left. Make sure it was all dialed. It's dialed. I go into the tent that morning, and it's after morning breakfast and whatnot, and I'm in the tent and I hear, "Brian, if you can hear me,
I'm British.
How about you bring that 17 over here?" And I was like, he must see a fox. Right?
Like, where is he?
And I'm like, where is he? And I think you said the latrine.
Yeah.
I was like, and I barely heard him because he talked in like this, "Hello, Brian. If you can hear me."
Like
In
Siri
fact,
almost.
And I couldn't hear him because I had my hood on, and so I had to have Michael he asked for the 17, and because I did hear him, but I questioned myself. Did I just hear that?
And when you bring a man a gun when he's still in the latrine, it was
awkward.
I'm like, "Tim, I feel like I shouldn't be over here."
He was running with it. Don't
Just kidding.
fool yourself. Brian's like, I don't think
It
the
was
fox
funny
is worth
because
it. Cole came
I grabbed the
charging out
gun.
there half dressed. Like, wow,
I came around the corner thinking that's where Tim, because I didn't know where Tim goes to the bathroom, and I came running around the corner. And Tim's like, "It's there, right behind you." So I had run. The fox is on the hill behind me while I'm running the other 40
way.
yards closer to Tim. He was not in the latrine.
Yeah.
Let's correct that.
So what essentially was going on is before that I was the little boy that cried fox. I figured we'd see one eventually, and so about every 30 seconds I go, "I think I see a fox," knowing eventually this thing might come true, and I'd be the one that called it.
Yeah.
But Brian had said that he really liked the red ones, and this was a cross fox. I've never seen a cross fox, and it was coming in straight at me. And a cross fox in the front is red and silver, right? And so I don't want to just get all kind of freaked out and noisy about it. And I'm close to our tent, so in my mind, I'm like, "Hey, Brian, can you hear me?" "Yeah." You want to bring that 17 out here?" And what I was hoping to do was have you come out and shoot a red fox, and then it turned and started kind of trotting off there, and Cole came out from the other side, and it was a cross fox, and I was like, well, should we have Brian? She just gets leaving, so you can
did I say?
You can shoot it, or we can watch it run away. Essentially.
I was like, screw Brian, you're here, you shoot it.
That's
what he
I'm
actually
thinking
said.
too.
I was like, you're here, he's not, shoot it.
So I shot it.
That's why we love Cole.
He's getting away. He's getting it. He's sitting there.
Tim is a very Tim and Michael both are very gracious and unselfish people, and they're very polite as well. And so, Tim will be like, "Go ahead, Brian," and it's like, "No, you go ahead." And then it's this, back and forth. Yeah. So I was glad because I could tell Tim wanted this way more than I did, or
yeah, it's kind of like when he's like, "Here, you could take the gun," but he doesn't really give it to you. He keeps pulling it back a little bit, like,
There's no magazine. Joke's on you.
Yep. But tell me this, it's down to the wire. I'm getting ready to leave. We never saw a silver fox with the gun at hand.
You didn't see him.
Yeah, Michael had one. Like stand and dance for him for 15 minutes, like
14 yards away, just looking at me.
That was wild.
Laid down, he knew he was safe.
Yeah, you just tell you're no threat.
I just had a big gun because you guys kept taking the 17 with you all the time. So what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You were like, I'm not going to shoot him with a gun that's going to blow him in half. So, that was good. But on the last day, last hours, Tim.
Yeah.
As we're leaving camp, surely through your mind you were thinking, man, I didn't get that silver fox.
Let her down.
Yeah.
Well, she let me back in the house.
I'm just going to have to come back over here. Can't go home yet.
Going to stay in the shop.
I mean, you really wanted one. And so when that fox popped up as we were loading the rafts as high as the clampets and we're strapping things down, and this silver fox just walks right into camp and just hangs out.
I made it.
What did you say?
I said
in your calm voice once again.
It was basically it was, you've got to be kidding me. Turned and looked over, and right where our tent was 40 minutes ago, there's a fox standing there, and I'm looking at this thing, and Michael's right beside me, and
it's a big silver male.
It was a big male, yeah, and everybody looks over and sees this thing, and it kind of starts heading for the brush. Michael's standing there. The last two things to go on the raft are the 375, in case we're floating right into a bear, and need to Cole's going to keep us safe, or the 17. And he goes, well, here, and hands me the 17.
Very nice.
I should have just pushed you out of the way and then threw your rifle down and then ran over there. And
I very politely offered to let him shoot it. Actually, I just didn't even think about it. Felt bad afterwards. Yanked it right out of his hand.
Like, here, shoot it.
And then I, for a quick, clean, ethical shot, I braced up, got a nice, steady kneeling.
He literally knocked Michael over and used him as a rest.
Sandbag.
Kneeled on top of my
Tim
back.
drops to a knee at 6 feet.
Smashed into the mud.
It was at least 10 yards away, maybe 12. And got a nice silver fox right there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Camp.
It was funny how he positioned himself. He could. I just thought I'd hand it to him, and he'd just throw it up and shoot it. And he steps over a couple steps, gets down on one knee, focuses.
Stops.
I could just
gets
imagine
up again.
Playing this back in the British accent that's been going
I'm
around
in the
camp.
water. I'm down in the water looking. I'm like, what are you
Tim
doing?
Lester.
He's right there, isn't he? But yeah, he didn't want to mess that situation up because so many eyes. And, he was recovering from a rough situation the night before. So things were fresh in his brain. Confidence was low.
Plus, the hunt was on. He had to move 3 feet to the right.
Right.
And then reposition.
That was
gave it a sporting chance. It was a stock.
It was a stock. You managed to turn it into a stock.
It was a stock. Actually, the main reason I was doing that was, if we're honestly here, is because there was stuff in the background. And so I wanted to change angle on it. I wanted to make sure that I was past you guys a little bit, but there was something in the background back there, and I didn't know what it was.
It's
so
just
I
Cousin Will or something is fine.
I wanted to move.
Didn't want to shoot him.
Yeah, it was.
But we all got to see it, so that was cool.
Yeah. Yep.
It was. Well,
what about your fox?
Folks, I shot a fox, and you're going to see it on film. So when it comes out, I just think they're beautiful. It added to this whole experience to see them move around, because we had another fox when I was on my stalk for my deer that parallel walked with us for like, I don't know.
Yeah, beautiful red.
Beautiful red. And it was a big, big fox. I was like, wow, that's big. And just a side note, these foxes up here on Kodiak are known for being way bigger than any other foxes around the world of the same species.
I was amazed. Yeah,
so they're big here, big and beautiful, thick coats, and it's a pretty. We kind of just added to the whole experience, you know.
Sure.
We weren't just hunting deer; we were always on the lookout for a fox too. And so having both, you know, having that hunt include both animals, kind of added a little bit to the whole experience.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all coming home with a great amount of booty here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you guys got some great bucks and beautiful fox, and
yeah,
you guys all did a great job.
So I'm looking forward to sharing all the adventure on Gritty. So folks, look for that. We're gonna put out some film and some YouTube stuff, and it'll be hopefully it'll inspire others to get out and have an adventure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, in Alaska or Kodiak or Prince of Wales or whatever. And as always, you know, stay gritty.
Despite our ever-changing, ever-indignant world with its growing ignorance of and indifference to the ways of the wild, I remain a predator, pitying those who revel in artificiality and synthetic success while regarding me and my kind as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood. I stalk a real world of dark wood and tall grass stirred by a restless wind blowing across sunlit water and beneath star-strewn sky. And on those occasions when I choose to kill, to claim some small part of nature's bounty for my own, I do so by choice, quickly, with the learned efficiency of a skilled hunter. Further, in my heart and mind, I know the truth and make no apologies for my actions or my place in time. Others around me may opt to eat only plants, nuts, and fruits. Still others may employ faceless strangers to procure their meats, their leather, their feathers, and all those niceties and necessities of life. Such is their right, of course, and I wish them well. All I ask in return is no one begrudge me, and all of us who may answer the primordial stirrings within our hunter souls, my right to do some of these things myself.
What you just heard is a quote from M.R. James. We truly live in a world that is largely ignorant and indifferent to the ways of the wild. And although some regard us as relics of a time and place no longer valued or understood, we have the opportunity to change the way these people view the hunter and the hunt. We can share our experiences and nature's bounty with those who employ these faceless strangers. And by so doing, we make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for the wild animals in the wild places we care so deeply about. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting and the outdoors. Our wild animals and our wild places depend on it.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowman.
Gritty Bowman.